When Ghost Recon Wildlands was first released, it looked like a big, exciting idea. The game promised a huge open world set in Bolivia, where players could take on powerful drug cartel using many tactical approaches. Back then, the idea of free exploration and a choice in how to complete missions felt fresh and new. But now, in 2025, after many failed attempts and years of giving up on it of myself while trying to replay and just to experience this game for myself, it still becomes a much of a dull experience for me. At the start, Wildlands had a promise: be a lone special forces operative, or, a team, taking down sprawling drug cartel. Now, this idea was exciting because it offered choices. You could plan your missions, choose different approaches, and explore a vast map. However, as you keep on playing more, the more you notice that the excitement just fades away. The idea that once felt creative now seems routine. The game never really changed or improved. It's just that lacks of kind of innovation is quite hard to ignore. And one of the game's biggest selling points was its large map. Bolivia is shown in all of its variety, from dry deserts to thick jungles. At first, the map looks amazing and full of potential. The thought of exploring such a vast world was inspiring. The game's expansive open world remains a standout feature, with Bolivia's varied terrains rendered with impressive detail, proving a visually rich backdrops for the missions. This environmental diversity enhances immersion, making each region feel distinct and worth exploring. However, after several hours, the landscapes begins to feel empty. The game's world is big but unfortunately static. This means that the locations don't change much or react to your actions in any of the meaningful ways. In today's gaming, players expect environments that feel alive and interactive. They look for surprises, random events, or changes that keep exploration exciting. Wildlands, on the other hand, offered the same type of the enemy outposts and safe houses over and over again. Long journeys throughout the same kinds of scenery quickly turned into a tiresome trip from one dull encounter to the next. This lack of variety is one of the main reasons why the game just feels so boring now to me. Now, the heart of the Ghost Recon Wildlands is its mission structure. The game gives you many tasks, like taking down communicating towers, assassinating key targets, or rescuing prisoners. While on paper this might seem like a mix of challenges, in practice every mission starts to feel the same. Once you know the basic plan, sneak up, clear the area, complete the task, the thrill of the planning and that kind of executing new strategies just disappears. And for someone trying to experience the game fully, properly after many failed attempts in 2025, this repetition becomes a major turnoff. Each mission feels like a copy of the last one. There's a little variety or unexpected challenge to keep you interested. Instead of the game that challenges you thinking with the fresh scenarios, you're stuck in a loop of routines encounters. Over the time, this predictability makes the entire gameplay feel like a chore rather than an adventure. After investing around more than 25 hours of in-game time, there's a noticeable absence of compelling content of just keeping people engaged. Now, in a tactical shooter, combat should be engaging and very smart, right? Wildlands promises many options such as stealth, long-range sniping, a full-on firefights. However, the actual combat does not live up to that modern expectations. Hell, in fact, I would even argue to say back in 2017's the game's launch on top of that. So the enemy AI is very basic. This means that the AI enemies do not act in clever or surprising ways. They follow simple preset patterns and do not react to your tactics in real time. Because the enemies do not adapt, you quickly learn the routine for each encounter. Once you know how the enemies behave, you can easily predict the outcome of the firefight. This removes any real challenge or need for careful planning. And in 2025, when players have experienced more advanced and unpredictable combat in the newer games, the static approach feels very outdated and boring. The combat in Wildlands lacks the spark that would make it fun or exciting to play. Like mentioned, was a problem even back in 2017. Driving is not a game's biggest problems. It's just so awkward with the vehicle's handling, making traveling across the large map more of a chore than an adventure. Combat is also affected by unresponsive aiming controls, leading to missing stupid shots and just frustrating encounters. Attempts to adjust settings or find solutions online have not resolved these control issues, further diminishing the gameplay experience for me. Good storytelling can make up for many of the gameplay shortcomings, but Ghost Recon Wildlands does not deliver on a memorable narrative either. The game tells a story of corruption, cartel violence, and a political strife in Bolivia. However, the characters and plot are not developed well, if at all. The characters seem more like tools to move the mission forward rather than interesting individuals you can care about. The dialogue and story moments are often cliché and do not add depth to the game. Even if you're new to the game in 2025, these storytelling failures are quite noticeable. Instead of drawing you into an exciting tale, the narrative feels flat and unconvincing. It is hard to get emotionally involved with characters who seem one-dimensional and a storyline that just does not evolve. This lack of connection further adds to the overall boredom of the experience. Booting up the game or using a fast travel involves very lengthy loading times. Even on my PlayStation 5 Pro console, the game seems very poorly optimized. And additionally, frequent crashes disturb the gameplay, causing frustrations and hindering progress. These stability issues are fucking disappointing, especially given the capabilities of the current consoles. But you know, cooperative gameplay is an area where Wildlands can excel. Teaming up with friends to coordinate assaults and strategize adds depth and enjoyment to the experience. The synergy of working as a unit to achieve objectives showcases the game's design for the collaborative play, offering a satisfying sense of camaraderie and a tactical accomplishments. However, even in multiplayer and co-op modes, the same problems appear. The missions remain repetitive, the enemy behavior is unchanged, playing with friends does not add to the variety or spontaneity needed to make the game feel fresh. Instead, it becomes a shared experience of the same tedious task. The social aspect is not enough to overcome the fundamental issues with the game's design. In summary, Ghost Recon Wildlands once held a promise of a great tactical shooter experience. However, after giving up on it multiple times and finally playing it properly in 2025, the game reveals itself as as boring and repetitive as ever. Its vast open world lacks life, the missions follow a very predictable patterns, and the combat feels outdated due to the static enemy behavior, even by the standards in 2017. The story is unmemorable. The multiplayer modes adds a little to overcome these sorts of issues. Well, at least it does add something to this game. And despite its strengths in cooperative gameplay, this sort of a positive is not enough to save it from its glaring flaws. Ghost Recon Wildlands is now less of a tribute to tactical strategy and more of a lesson in what happens when a game fails to grow along with its players. Well, that's just my thoughts. Do let me know as well down in the comments. Did you enjoy Ghost Recon Wildlands previously when you guys have been experiencing it for yourself since it was released in 2017? Man, I always wanted to give it a shot and play it again and again, but I constantly kept on giving up on it. But now finally that I did, I played it as much as I could. I didn't even finish the game and I was already bored out of my mind playing this game. Well, that's what you get from a Ubisoft game, isn't it? My goodness. Hopefully they'll turn things around sooner rather than later. But either way, thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe. See you guys all and have a wonderful day.